Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
What's up, everybody?
Happy Thursday to you.
Ooh.
You're my ooh.
One more day to the end of the week.
Happy pre-Friday to you.
Friday Eve.
We're going to go ahead and get started. This is Brother Empowerment. If this is your first time being on, the whole focus of this is to empower brothers while ending the negative isms that are associated with masculinity as a whole. So we do have those unconventional conversations, just hoping for a chance and an opportunity to enlighten and empower each other without saying so much of what you gotta do, as much as just learning about different things to become better. You do better when you know better. So we're going to give it a few minutes to see. We got a special guest tonight, so we're going to give it a few minutes to see if he's coming on, and then we'll get this train started.
Yeah.
How was your week, bro?
The week was good, man. It was long. It's not as cold as it has been. So, you know, me, I'm a warm blood, man. So, warm weather brings out a different side of me. So, it was good, brother. It was good. I'm glad it's coming to an end, you know, but other than that, it's pretty good. Family's good. Job is relatively good. I still got to go to work. I'm not rich, so, you know.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. The working
rich.
life kind of sucks. A couple of things that we definitely want to talk about. If you have an opportunity, there are so many things that Brother Empowerment definitely would like to do. So if you have an opportunity to give, we definitely would encourage you to do so, because there's only so many things that we can do. On our own and with our own budget. So we want to definitely expand and impact the community more. So I definitely want to make sure we get that opportunity. And our special guest is on. Hold on one second. Let's see. Did our brother come on?
Says he joined.
It said he joined?
Said it right there. He's on.
Yes, it said he joined. Let's see what's going on. And they're receiving invite. Okay. There we go. Adding. Come on, bro. Connect. It's a shame with
What's going on, brother?
with Facebook, you gotta act like you you gotta act like you playing the lottery.
Oh.
Mr. Kerwin, what's going on, brother?
How's it going, brother, man? How's it going?
No complaints, no complaints. Welcome to Brother Empowerment, where the whole focus of this is to empower brothers while ending any negative isms associated with masculinity, just allowing us to be better. It's not about saying all the things we need to change. It's just about awareness and improving who we are and what we are. This is your first time on, so I definitely want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, and then I'll loop it back around to say how we got connected. So go on and tell the people who you are, Mr. Kerwin Pittman-El.
What's up, bro?
All right. Thank you, brothers, first for having me on the show. My name is Kerwin Pittman-El. I'm a community advocate, community activist, particularly Southeast Raleigh, but Raleigh as a whole. I deal in social justice issues. I sit on the board of directors for an organization called Justice Serve of North Carolina, which kind of advocates for at-risk youth. I mentor at-risk youth. I sit on the state's reentry council collaborative, where we kind of help tailor different formulas to kind of help brothers and sisters who have been incarcerated and coming out, and kind of help them transition back into society. I'm an author. I just published a book a couple months ago entitled Love Yours, a guide on how to love yourself, which basically teach people different techniques that they can use to help empower themselves and love themselves.
Okay.
I'm just a man of many facets and many talents, just trying to uplift and do my part, brothers.
Okay, well, thank you.
That's what's up, man.
And it's so funny. We met Brother Kerwin just through the power of social media. The power of social media, the message was out there. I do believe our common connection, maybe Erica L. I think that's how you ended up seeing some of the information about Love is a Parable. But what I found more interesting is that you authored a book about loving yourself, and that's what Love is a Parable really is about reflecting and becoming better so you can do better. It's 75% of what we talk about is self-reflection and becoming better before you can do the other 25% and help somebody else. But before we get on your book, because I definitely want to talk about that, tell me, how did you get into activism? Like, what made you say, you know what, I need to help somebody and I need to do a better job at doing it? Where did this passion come from?
This passion came from just really it was kind of a divine course. And so just watching incidents unfold and being formerly a formerly person that dealt with the justice system, just coming home and kind of seeing the climate of what's going on, it was like, okay, well, I got to take a stance. And so given the opportunity, I met a wonderful lady named Diana Powell, met other wonderful ladies through her, Dawn Blagrove, Kimberly Marktarian, Deidre McCullers, and the list goes on and on, but met other freedom fighters who was actually for the cause of helping people and uplifting people. And so several incidents happened dealing with law enforcement and police brutality. I'm pretty sure y'all heard of the Kyron Hinton case, the Frederick Hall case. So that kind of propelled me more into, okay, this is what I kind of want to do. So I was given a platform to do it by God's grace. And so I said, I'm going to be the one to stand up for my people. I wouldn't be the one to just squander that opportunity and say, I'm just going to be silent. And what they'll figure it out on their own. I'm going to be the mouthpiece for my people if I can be that. And so that's kind of how I got into it. And it's my passion. I love to do it. I get up and do it for free. I do it anytime at the drop of a dime. Somebody call me right now, brother, and something going on. I might got to leave the show and go and see what's going on.
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear you. I definitely appreciate it. Now tell the people quickly about Love Yours. That's the correct title, right?
Yeah, that's the correct title.
It's about
Love Yours. Exactly. Okay. So Love Yours, a guide on how to love yourself is the title. So it's basically a book geared towards loving yourself and self-empowerment. So it teaches you different techniques that you can actually practice, which calls self-reflection. And so a lot of the chapters in my book, I tell you to meditate on. Don't just read through the book like you would do. Like a lot of people just do books, just read through them page by page. No, actually read through what I'm saying, get the message, and then kind of reflect on it. And then go back and read it over again so you can kind of internalize it and say, okay, well, let me try to apply these techniques to my life so I can be a better me.
Why do you think love
and in turn help somebody else?
Why do you think love is important?
Oh, love is of utmost importance. Love heals all. Mm-hmm. Love conquers all. Love is all. Love is light. And I know if an individual does not truly love their self, not only would it be expressed in their actions outwardly, but they will be going through turmoil internally. And so this is what a lot of people suffer from, is from lack of love of self. And a lot of people really they don't realize it until it's actually pointed out to them, like, okay, well, if you really loved yourself, why would you do such and such and such and such? Mm-hmm. And then they would say, wow, man, I might really let me try to refrain from that characteristics, or let me make me a better me. Because we know that love will make you a better you. Love, if you love, you will forgive. If you love, you will help. If you love, you will lead fearlessly. But it starts with loving yourself first. So because you can't extend that love to somebody else in its full totality until you really love yourself and really know yourself. And that takes being honest with yourself. So a lot of people run from that. They run from that honesty because they are scared of who they are, and they're scared to change. And so this is why it's very important to begin to love yourself, especially as men. Women, they kind of get more into they kind of get more in tune with that. But men, we feel like, well, we macho, bravado, like we are, I'm good. I don't need, what do you mean? I love myself. But you look at some of the characteristic traits of the things that we do in your actions and express that you don't love yourself. And so I know as any man, you would want the best for your children. So you want to extend that proper love to them, but you got to first love yourself. You want to extend that proper love to your family, to your tribe, to your clan, to your nation, but you got to first internalize and love yourself first and foremost. And so that's why it's of utmost importance for us to begin to educate ourselves on the different ways that we can begin to love ourselves, and when we're not loving ourselves properly.
Yeah, I like what you said about women are taught or have a platform to better express themselves when it comes to love, and even loving themselves, more so loving themselves. And you talked about men having to be macho. Mm-hmm. It's funny because that's really what we're talking about. Sometimes as men, we can't be who we want to be because of the social constructs, whatever they may be. Some are good, some are bad.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about the ones that are bad, that are hindering us. Like in this case, being macho is hindering us from self-expression. What type of message or what type of empowerment do you give brothers who feel like showing emotion or showing love, taking care of themselves, being there for themselves is a form, you know, of being anything but macho? So how do you empower brothers who are going through that in their mind?
First you have to break down the stigma of what is macho in today's society. So a lot of people try to live up to today's society standards when it comes to our culture. So and we know that's the gangster, the rap, the killer, but in all actuality, that really doesn't make you a demand. That really doesn't define you, your machoism, so to speak, because all that really at the end of the day, it don't really amount to nothing. So what I would tell them is honest.
Uh-oh.
Brother froze.
We done lost our brother.
Oh man. Technical difficulty.
You still there, bro?
What I would tell them is honest.
Oh no.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Brother froze.
Well, it seemed like we lost great things that he was saying about the machoism. And we have to get to a place and get to a point where we'll be able to get past that. And now we want to definitely get into the questions. I guess when Kerwin comes back, he'll want to jump on because it looked like we lost him. But he was saying some good things. So if we don't in the future.
Most definitely.
And I will find his contact information and give that to you guys just in case any of you want to reach out to him. So I want to jump into it. Here's a comment for my Brothers Empowerment Topics. It says, what prevents a man from staying committed to responsibility versus committed to feeling versus logic? Okay? So we're going to break this down a little bit. The first part of this is, what prevents a man from staying committed to responsibility? Okay? Go ahead and jump on that, bro.
So, as far as what prevents a man from staying committed to his responsibility, it could be a bunch of things. It could be, well, first, if he wasn't brought up with if he's not used to having responsibility, and this could be, you know, as far as being taught that if you commit, or you say you're going to do something, then you know that you need to stick with it, because your word is your bond as a person, especially as a man. So it could be their upbringing. It also could be their own, I would say, issues within themselves. I mean, some people just have a fear of commitment. Now that could stem from, I mean, anything. Could stem from past issues. It could stem from just their natural personality, meaning that they have issues with committing to anything. It could be a few things. And so it could be, so to break that down and to make it a little more concise, I'll say it could be upbringing, it could be personalities, their actually innate personality, or some issues they have within themselves, or it could just be that, you know, that's something that they're not used to, having responsibility.
So, brother, I know you was connecting at that point. One of the topic questions, and we will give you an opportunity to loop back into what you were saying, but one of the topics was, what prevents a man from staying committed to responsibility? What are your thoughts on that?
One of the things that kind of will prevent a man is his morals and his values. So in order to stay committed to your responsibilities, you have to take your responsibilities serious. So that leads to the question is, how serious does he take whatever he's responsible for? And so this kind of will determine if he will stay committed to it or not, as well as how serious do we take itself. So as a man, upright, fearless, and independent, you always want to stand on your principles. And one of the principles that you stand on is truth. And so we know that the truth got to be your word, because you got to be the truth that you bring. And so if you can't keep your word, then you can't expect anybody to really put too much faith or value in you. So in turns, that make you not put too much faith and value in yourself. So that's a cycle that you really have to stop breaking. A lot of things that guys go through is they're scared to be honest with themselves. They're scared to admit their faults, their flaws, their fears, and that is the first step, admitting, and then being able to work from that, and then to say, okay, well, now I can commit because I have overcome this fear of not committing because of such and such and such and such. And so it's just a matter of breaking it down and really internalizing it and looking at itself. But it could be multiple things that could keep a man kind of from committing, but that's one of the biggest reasons.
It's interesting you say that, because immediately my mind went to, if I'm being 100% honest, there is so much weight that a man deals with. Responsibility feels like another job.
Ooh, yeah.
We don't talk about the burden. Like, I can honestly say, like, I've been working since I was 13, and everything feels like an added to-do list, if you will. And so sometimes we want to break away from quote-unquote reality and just want that opportunity to be careless. Now, there's some men who take full advantage of their carelessness, but I think we can't ignore the external pressures that none of us have power over, that sometimes hinder us from being committed, because we look at, being responsible as another burden that we have to carry. And sometimes you just don't feel like carrying that burden.
Yeah.
That's good.
What are your thoughts on that?
That is a great analogy of the situation. A lot of people don't feel like carrying that burden, and life can feel like a checklist at times. And so when you want to just kick back, or as I like to call it, or just I'm gonna let my hair down and be, you got to make sure you still do it respectively and responsibly. So because at the end of the day, you have to remember that you're a grown man, and so you can't portray yourself to be a grown man or call yourself to be a grown man, but do things a child would do when they kick back or they let their hair down. And that would be drinking and driving, or excessively drinking and driving could kind of be too much, or excessively partying, or I go blow my rent check and I know I got to pay the bills in 2 days. And so now I got to kind of figure out how I'm going to get this money back. So it's multiple ways that you can let your hair down respectively. And when I say that, I mean like responsibly as a man, and still handle your business, but still have fun. For myself, I enjoy working out. I enjoy, like, that is my stress reliever. That's my let my hair down time. So at times when I feel like the world is getting too much on me, I got a 24-hour gym membership pass. I go to the gym. So it might be 12 o'clock at night. I might go to the gym. I might put my headphones in, and so it gives me actual time to meditate. Riding sometimes, just driving, being able to drive and think to myself kind of give me an opportunity to kind of escape, let my hair down. So, but a lot of people feel like they have to use other outside stimulants, drugs, alcohol, women, whatever, to help them feel like they're letting their hair down. But really all they're doing is making compound problems on top of whatever issues they might already be having, and not really solving the issues, because when they wake up or when it all comes down, the issues are still there, but now you're out of your money, so now it's another issue on top of the issue, and so it's a down spiral cycle. And so you just got to be responsible about what you do.
Well, I definitely agree with that, which actually goes into the next part of this question is, what makes a man be either committed to feeling or logic? What overpowers logic or feelings in a man? So the question is, what make us choose one or the other? Either it's feelings, like we are quote unquote emotional, we're in tune with who we are, or it's no, I put all emotions to the side and I have to think rationally through that situation. And so that's the question: feelings versus logic. But what overpowers both of them, if you will? What are your thoughts?
Feelings versus logic. Both of them, depending on, depending on each situation is kind of tailored for the feelings or the logic, but it depends on at that moment whichever one is stronger. So it's kind of like whichever beast, for lack of better terms, but whichever beast you fed the most when it comes to this particular incident will trump reason over logic. Okay, so if your mother's in a burning car, we know logic gonna say don't go in there because you're gonna get burnt. But reason is feeling this emotion. This is my mom. I'm gonna text her. I'm going to go save her. So it kind of depends on the situation, which will determine which one. But what trumps all that is willpower, right? Because if you have the willpower, then it's going to trump the reasoning. It's going to trump the logic. It's going to trump the feeling and all that, because you have the willpower to do this. You're disciplined enough to do this. I'm sticking to this. I'm not going to let my logic know, because sometimes your mind will have a way of trying to outsmart you, so to speak. So it'll come up with different reasons for you to do the wrong thing, and it justified in your mind. So when your logic is saying, well, they didn't did it to me, I might as well do it to them. Eye for eye. Right. I mean, I'm just, because this is the battles that we face. We face a higher, we got a higher in the Lord. So we got two battles we facing. And so it depends on whichever one you're kind of going to give into the most, which is going to determine your outcome. But your willpower will say, okay, regardless of whatever this person may have done to me, no, this is my principle. This is what I stand on as a man. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to follow through with, regardless of how I feel, regardless if it makes me feel bad, that I can't give my loved one this money, even though they're crying, but I know they're going to take this money and turn and go buy alcohol and go do drugs or go do something bad, go buy a gun with it. Regardless of how much I want to do, I don't want to see them hurt, but I love them enough, not to do that to themselves. And so it's just willpower to refrain and sticking to your principles and your guides as a man, what you have set forth as a man. And that's one of the biggest problems, because a lot of people, and I can't just say men in general, but they don't have principles and morals about themselves. And so when you don't have principles and morals about yourselves, the laws that govern you are not there. You are lawless. So what is governing you? That means outside entities and forces is really governing you, because you don't stand on nothing. So you're here one day, you're upright, righteous. The next day you're Lord and a worm. The next day you're over here, and so you go to and fro. But once you get a principle and a solid foundation of understanding of who you truly are, then your willpower will overcome all that.
Well, for those who are just tuning in, you see why this brother is an activist, Mr. Kerwin Pittman-El, who's passionate about helping. He's an author and a community activist, has a book out called Love Yours. It's a manual to loving yourself. So you definitely want to make sure you check that out. It was a lot of things that you said that really resonated with me. And the funny thing is, I'm more of an emotional-led person. I really don't use logic because I'm more like, as you were talking, it was the same reason why I feel like sometimes logic is when you try to outsmart yourself. And so I'm very intuitive. I will use my intuition to guide me. And unfortunately, intuition is considered more spiritual, of course, but more on the emotional realm than the logical realm, because I can't explain it. If I'm not led to do it, I'm not going to do it. If it doesn't feel right, I'm not going to do it. If it feels right, I'm going to do it. And I'm one of them people that's all or nothing. I can't really swim in the gray. I'm straight black or white. So if I feel like it's supposed to be done, I'm going to do it. If I don't feel it, I'm not going to do it. And so the one thing that always go over me, I think my feelings always empower. Whatever it is I'm sensing, that's what I tend to lead more towards. And I really don't depend on logic too much, because when I was logical, I found myself not really enjoying life, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
I found myself trying to figure things out. I found myself trying to do these different little formulas to make things work in my life a certain way, versus just listening to my body and listening to my emotions. They're telling me something for a reason. There's a reason why we have allergic reactions. So there is also a reason why we have emotional allergic reactions, if you will. There's a reason why something is saying don't go in there. There's a reason why something's saying do it. And I feel like we need to listen to that, because we've been so conditioned to deprive ourselves and punish ourselves with reason. So it's so interesting when you were saying that. I was like, yeah, I'm straight on the emotional curve when it comes to that. What's your thoughts, bro?
Well, my thoughts are, there's a lot in that question. I feel like society conditions boys who are later turned into men, conditions them to suppress their emotions. So, you know, a lot of people expect men to be logical, and then the stereotype that men are logical and women are emotional
Exactly.
comes into play too, and that's why we have that stereotypes because of societal conditioning. But I also feel like you said, Jay, you said you're an emotional person. There are a lot of men out there who are more emotional than they are logical, and I think it comes out in a variety of ways. Some people like Jay live in their truth and say, look, I'm an emotional person, and my emotions, I don't say rule me, but I'm led by my emotions. Some of our other brothers, their emotions come out when they are stressed or in times of conflict, and it's more of an eruption rather than an actual process of them actually thinking about their emotions. It just kind of blurts out, and their logic kind of shuts down. So, and I think that if there was more of a balance, if brothers were brought up with more of a balance to really tune into their emotions and really kind of tap into their emotional intelligence, it wouldn't have to be an either or. It could be a balance, or it could be a harmony. So I do think that the paradigm is definitely shifting. But I definitely think that as far as how we're conditioned, and I definitely was that way. I didn't start getting in tune with my emotions until my mid-20s. I was I'm naturally more of just a really analytical person, but I definitely, when I was younger, suppressed my emotions a lot, simply because I thought they'd always get me in trouble.
Exactly.
So now that I have more of a harmony between them, things are a lot easier for me. So I definitely say that the reason why we have to commit, or we think we have to commit to one or the other, is because of conditioning or our upbringing.
Exactly.
So how do you uncondition the conditioning?
Things that we're doing right now, brothers talking to brothers and letting another brother know that it's okay to bask in your emotions and to be in your emotions, even if it feels uncomfortable. It's okay to to tap into that. It's not a bad thing. You're not less than or weak because you let people know that you have emotions or that you are an emotional person. To me, it's actually, it makes you stronger because you let people know that, there's another side of me. I'm not a robot. And that's what a lot of people expect men to be, who are robots.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Okay. It says, is it the same as women when it comes to logic and feelings? Probably not. Most men are driven by a sense of responsibility or the lack thereof. How do we know the difference? I'll just jump into that right there. I think that is a stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
I think that depends on the person, and it's kind of hard to answer because I know when I was younger, and I know people that I was with when I was younger, we ran from responsibility, whereas now we run to it.
Exactly.
And so I do think that that's just case by case, individual by individual, and I can't even say if that's a male or female thing.
Yeah.
I just really think that that's one of those things. As far as when we talk about responsibility, accountability is different because accountability is taking ownership. Responsibility is just duty, and a lot of people use them interchangeably, but they are different. Accountability is taking ownership of a situation. Responsibility is doing the job or doing the task associated with the event. So a lot of people will be responsible before they'll be accountable.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
So anything that you wanted to add to that, either one of you guys?
You kind of hit it on the head.
You captured it right there. Responsibility is definitely taught before accountability in a lot of cases. Unfortunately, they aren't taught at the same time, or they're one's taught definitely before the other. You got to do this. Is a staple in a lot of young people's lives, a lot of people's lives in general, especially brothers. Because I think we've touched on it before that to a lot of brothers, being a man is just packing on one responsibility after another. That's just what it is. You gotta grow up and you gotta make money, get a good job, make good money, and require resources. You have to get a house so you can have a family. You have to start a family. You have to take care of the family. You have to make sure that your kids, have things that they want. You have to make sure your wife or your significant other has things that he or she wants. There's just one thing after another. It's just responsibility, top responsibility. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I definitely agree. The next question was going to be, Karen, I want to, because you're in the community, and this is kind of a conversation that Cordell and I have quite often.
Mm-hmm.
It says accountability and supporting each other, talking about men. Being a community activist, do you feel, or an author, or a physical trainer, do you feel that you're being supported by your brothers like you are being supported by your sisters?
Oh, in all of them fields, and you know, me myself, I'm always honest, and so like no, you know, and I hate to say it because the culture amongst men, I don't necessarily think is always negative, but when women will embrace you more and try to empower you more and propel you more and push you more before your brother will. And so I was embraced in the activist culture. I was embraced by a group of women. Not only women, all the women was older than myself. And so they kind of looked at me as like as little bro. And so we're gonna school little bro, we're gonna teach little bro, we're gonna kind of vibe them. So when I would run into other activist males, which was far few in between, it wasn't like necessarily, come on, let me take you under my wing and let me prepare you or let me show you the rope. And so I kind of navigated the map myself, and still use the wisdom of the females to kind of go my way, and still use the wisdom of the males, because now older males are beginning to see how serious that I am to tackle and combat this problem of any type of oppression when it comes to people in general. They take me serious now, so they say, okay, well now I feel like I can impart this wisdom on you, because I don't feel like now I'm casting my pearls to swine. Whereas the female perspective would be like, okay, well, let me go ahead on and give you this before something happened and you don't have it, so to speak. So the women perspective will support you quicker than the male perspective. And that's sad. And that's in any field, or in the training, personal fitness training field, the community, as far as the community wrapping their arms around you. And I don't know if it's because a lot of other males, we sense that it's a lot of bull job with other males, and so that kind of leave you more hesitant to even deal with them or say, okay, well, I don't want to feel like I'm getting played. I'm giving them all this knowledge and wisdom, and he just turn around and throwing it away. But we definitely as men have to step up and support each other more. And so that's why I love the movement that you guys were doing, because it's real. You have women's empowerment. Why don't we have men's empowerment? Why are we not empowering each other to do better for ourselves? Why don't we have this network of men who join together collaboratively and try to push something together? We don't all have to be within the same organization. We don't even all have to be within the same field. But as long as we got the same goal to empower each other, then all is well. All will be love, and we will kind of be uplifted more and elevated more. And that's something that women do that males do not do. Or women will embrace a sister quick. Hey, girl, come on. Man, we're going to stare him up and down. Like, what do you want? What are you going to try to get from me now? For real. Because, you know, that's how it is. You'll look at him like, man, what does this guy want? What angle he coming from? Is he serious?
Yeah.
And it's sad, because are they justified for thinking like this because of previous actions? Or should we all just give the male the benefit of the doubt, which we should? I didn't know you brothers from nobody, but I sense the sincerity, and like I'm intuitive too, and so my spirit said, I love what this brother is doing. Men's empowerment. Why isn't it more people doing this? Why is it just women? Women's empowerment. Why don't the men have something? And so I said, okay, well, I sense the sincerity. Okay, well, I'm going to deal with the brother. And if I would have dealt with you, and no offense, my brother, and I felt like any type of like it was just a bull job or something, I wouldn't be here right now, brother, man. But I know you are sincere. And so we have to give the male the opportunity to not say wrong us, so to speak, first off, but to see kind of how sincere he is first. So we as men got to take the initiative to see how sincere other brothers is first, versus us saying, okay, well, let me see if he mess up first before I even go and talk to him. Versus the women to say, let me go over here and embrace her first, and if she mess up, then I will kind of decide what I'm gonna do. We got to take that kind of perspective and that standpoint when it comes to uplifting each other and supporting each other in anything.
Well, you actually got me just thinking about my whole life, and I can honestly say, like, yes, I get the support from women, especially initially with Love is a Parable. It was 60% women in the very beginning. even we were challenged by a woman to start the brother empowerment. She's actually on. Dion, tell her, hey, Kerwin. Hey, Dion.
Hey, Dion. This is
And
our
then we got Malika Malika
person
just
to call.
joined. So tell her, hey, Malika.
Hey, Malika.
And Lori saying hey to us earlier. So we got, and Uncle Marcus just came on.
Hey, Uncle,
hey, Uncle Marcus.
Hey.
So, you got a lot of people that were agreeing with you in what you were saying. But I will say that my skepticism as it relates to men has nothing to do with them wronging me as much as I'm just unfamiliar with their presence. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I've been around women majority of my life, I know how to respond to a woman. Whereas when men come, I'm not sure of that connection. And so I don't know what their intention is. And so I'm just skeptical all the way around because I'm trying to find some type of standard to compare it to. And unfortunately, I don't have many comparisons to use. Does that make sense?
That makes a whole lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. And to say that you don't have many standards to compare it to speak volumes in itself. That right there is and so that's one thing we have to kind of do is have these standards to kind of compare these people to really see how sincere they are. And I know, I guess maybe the kind of the culture I came up in, it was kind of say, okay, well, what angle is he coming from before anything? Let me see what he is, or if he's gonna wrong me, or what, or is he sincere? A lot of people don't like to pour time into things or people who they feel like are not receiving or just not going to use their wisdom. But what we don't understand, even with that thought, when we pour into people, we're actually pouring back into ourselves, if you really think about it, because what you're speaking out your mouth is what's inside your heart, and that continues to solidify and continues to ferment within you. Because as an upright man, I can't tell you don't go over there and do that, and then I turn around and do the same thing. So now I'm holding myself to an even higher standard, because I'm preaching this to the youth. So how can I be caught out here doing this when I'm telling y'all don't do it? And so a lot of us feel like we're just giving it away, and not receiving nothing back, or we're just casting our pearls to swine. But in all actuality, we're casting the pearls back into ourselves. And so once you look at it like that, a lot of males will kind of approach it different from my perspective and how I came up in my culture.
Okay. And for those who may not know, cast your pearls before swine is a scriptural vernacular that's usually used in the Abrahamic faith. And the whole ideology behind it, meaning putting something of value to someone who will waste it or trample upon it. Meaning, why would I give my good things or my things of substance to someone who's going to either abuse it, misuse it, or not even use it to its maximum potential? Don't even use it at all. So it's so much that go into that statement. Just in case anybody viewing who don't understand it, we understand it because we've heard it before. But if it's your first time hearing it, it's definitely a familiar statement that has a scriptural backing, but it has become kind of like a idiom at the same time. You had a question that came up while we were talking. A few, because you know Uncle Mark is on, so it's only a matter of time. But Malika said, is there an underlying issue of not seeing other men as a safe space, or is it a matter of competition?
It's all of that.
All of that.
You said all of that? You guys tell why it's all of that.
It's all of that. So, first off, you know, there aren't a lot of safe spaces for brothers just in general. So we don't have a lot of safe spaces to go to outside of your family's house, your own house, the barber shop, or some kind of maybe sporting event where you see other men who you know or who are like-minded. Other than that, there are not a lot of safe spaces. We are, as a society and as brothers, we are creating them as we go along, especially now. So I would say there's definitely, to answer the question, there's definitely an issue because they're not allowed safe spaces, not outside the stereotypical ones. So we definitely have an issue because if we don't think about those places, we don't view any other place as a safe space. So every other man that we see, if we don't know him, is a stranger, essentially.
Stranger danger.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know, yeah,
exactly.
exactly. So, and to answer your question, is it competition? Is that too? As young as boys who transition to young men and to transition to fully grown men, we see a lot of men, even men that are close to us, our own brothers, literally and figuratively, as competition. You know, and it's not even like an iron sharpens iron kind of competition. It's a literal competition for iron sharpens iron. My favorite. Anything. It's my favorite analogy.
Mark this down. Yo, mark this down. My brother just used scripture. He went in and did it.
Iron sharpens iron is one of my favorite analogies ever. But
I'm sorry. It got me. I was like, no.
But to continue what I was saying, we as brothers, we see each other as competition from the time that we're little boys. Oh, Tommy's bigger than you, or Tommy got this, or you got to beat Tommy, or you got to beat Jay, or you got to beat Cordell, you got to beat Kerwin, or this just we see each other's competition so much that it's in our DNA by the time we get older to just see another man as you, like you said, size him up. Whether you know whether you're doing it subconsciously or not, you're looking at him as, okay, well, he has this or he's doing this and I'm not doing that, so I may need to do that. I might need to be better. So it's all of that, unfortunately. So yeah, to answer her question.
Mr. Pittman?
The brother hit it dead on the head. The safe space thing dead on the head. The competition thing, the brother said, being taught to compete at a young age, it kind of cycles over into manhood. And so automatically when you view someone, and a lot of the competition things come from not being comfortable with self. Because when you're comfortable with self, you don't have to compete. I don't care what you got, how big you are, because that has nothing to do with me. It really, unless it's something trying to harm me. But automatically, when we see another man, you size him up. And I hate to say that it's automatic. Dang, he got some big arms. Or this joker here, boy. Boy, you see that joker feet? You see his hands? Like in your mind, subconsciously, you're doing this. And I don't know if it's just combat mode, but we got to kind of break out of that competition mindset. And a lot of this, and to be honest with you, and I not to just even go there, but I got to keep it real. A lot of this, I believe, is still residue from slavery. So when something has happened for so many years, over 400 years, and it's repetitive and it's constantly, we're constantly competing, we're constantly, it's going to be embedded in us, and it's continue to be passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation to generation, whether consciously or subconsciously. And so that's something we have to be aware of. We have to be aware that we shouldn't feel like we have to compete with anybody but ourselves. Compete with yourself. Let tomorrow be better than today.
I will say that it is so funny that you guys were saying that about like Kerwin, you don't know, but I did a whole spiel on competition one time. Like, I don't believe in competition at all. I believe it's a social construct.
It is.
But that's a result of my upbringing. Fortunately, my 3 older brothers, they always esteemed me. Like, we had other issues, but as far as confidence and esteeming one another, that wasn't a concern. Like, the first time I was called fat, I was in college. So by this time, my fineness or my good lookingness, it was shellacked in me. So when I see a brother with, like, if I see a brother with muscles or anything, and people be like, he look good or blah, 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 I'm like, shit, I look good. And I've never had that issue. And I can honestly say, before Love is a Parable, before really, and when I talk about Love is a Parable, we're talking about really back in 2012, 2014, before I changed my thought process, men wasn't just a factor. I was like, I don't want to be around men. I just want to be around women. I love women. I think they're beautiful. I love everything about them. Why do I need to be around another dude? You see what I'm saying? But then it dawned on me, if I esteem myself and I love myself this much, why can't I esteem other brothers? And so I purposely make sure that when I speak to someone, I stop saying, what's up, man? And now I say, how you doing, my brother? And I do that across ethnicities because we have to esteem one another because we have been isolated for so long. And a lot of brothers do think that there's a competition until you meet a brother like Jada's. Like, first of all, if you're going to try to compete with me, you're going to lose every time because I'm the best me.
Mm.
You can't outperform me being me.
That's right.
So why even do that?
Yep.
I'm not going to try to outperform you being you.
Mm.
So we got to make sure that in the process of sizing up people or really getting to know them is really figuring out where your issue is coming from. A safe space. The reason why men want a safe space for me had nothing to do with competition. It was more of being just unfamiliar with your presence. So I wasn't sure of your intentions.
Yeah.
But I do know several brothers who talk about it being a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that that's where the conversation happened, because you have a lot of brothers like me. And unfortunately, if you become a friend of mine, you will become extremely confident in thyself. Just know, because I do believe in esteeming one another, and I do believe that there's no competition with that as well. One of the things that Dion said, hold on, let me go back because it was a lot of stuff. She said, when you were talking about the struggle of what men go through, she said women go through it too. And Dion said, what do men be so focused on? Are more women focused on themselves than men? Basically, she's asking what occupies a man's thoughts. Well, women are always thought about improvement of themselves. Most of the time, I think, I could be wrong, more of making sure that they keep themselves up, whereas men are in tune to think more about the task and the responsibility. If I'm wrong, Dion, provide clarification so we can get it. Yeah, so we can tackle that. And then she said, yeah, this is what she said. I think some of that is also the same as black women as well. James Mont, when you were talking, he said, preach.
What's up, James?
Dion said, so true, to when you were talking about know thyself. Marquise, we not fooling with you. He either laugh or talking junk to us. He's thinking about it. And Dion says, yes, y'all are breaking the cycle. Y'all better do that. That's our cheerleader. Yep. Thank you, Dion. Okay, and Malika said, wow, that's eye-opening, Dion. You are right. As women, we tend to compete in terms of beauty and materialism. This answered my question, so it's right. In terms of materialism, the conditioning is similar, but we spend so much time unpacking my black woman stuff that I rarely consider what brothers have to work or undo. Good job, guys. Thank you, Malika.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We really do appreciate that. It's several different things that we don't talk about in the community. Marquis said, I'm here for it. I just have thoughts. However, I need to catch it from the beginning. Okay, we're going to get Marquis on. Marquis has been a friend of ours for a while. Yep. He actually has been a friend through social media since we started Love is a Parable, so I definitely would like to get him on. One of the things that I will say that we don't talk about in competition, and I think that this may be that area of competition, and I'm glad that I have you brothers on, is I think a lot of it is more so for men of color. Is more so stemmed in colorism than it is physique. I think that we don't talk about colorism as it relates to men in competition. The only time we talk about colorism is women in competition. You know, the lighter skinned woman and this and that. And it's like a double-edged sword, because this is the time of the bald, black-headed beard man. you know, but there's also that complex that being lighter means you think that you're better, or there's always this extra. Whenever I get the deep voice talk, like, what's up, man? It is usually from a lighter hue brother. Ones that are dark and fat like me, we usually say, what's up, and keep it the same. Kerwin, do you feel like that's an unspoken thing, colorism in our community, especially men, that you have to contend with?
Oh, yes. Colorism is...
Oh, yes.
because it's so true. Like, so being of lighter complexion, and you know, just coming up, the brother said, like, oh, they're soft. So you always, the lighter you are in some instances. In some instances, it's kind of, is kind of positive, and some instances negative. But in all actuality, it shouldn't be that, period. Because everybody should be viewed based off of their character, not their complexion or whatever, anything like that. It's the character in which we should judge. But anyway, back to the question. So the lighter brother, in terms is viewed as softer, in terms is viewed as he has to be more bravado and more just macho, and so he goes above and beyond. And the ones you see normally, you hear about just doing all this crazy stuff, is normally a light-skinned brother with green eyes, and you be like, yo, I did not expect Tone Loc to look like that. I expected him to be big, black, bald head, just, you know. And so, and that's kind of the stereotype. And so for the darker brothers, as far as whatever's in season, you know, that come and go. That's people preference. But more people are prone, believe it or not, to accept, and it's sad because society has made it like this, and just years of conditioning to accept a lighter brother or things coming from a lighter brother than a darker brother. And so the brothers of darker hue, in some instances, they have it worse than the lighter brother. And sad to say, that comes from the Willie Lynch syndrome. I don't know if you brothers are familiar with Willie Lynch.
We definitely are.
Okay, so that comes from that Willie Lynch syndrome, which still, the residue is still resonate in today's culture. And so when it goes into different things, you black, you ugly, you black, you know. So, oh, he black as a mug, or you blacker than what. And these as kids we heard this. And so that is one of the stigmas that we got to kind of break from. And so I view people character. I view how they really feel about themselves. And you can really tell somebody really feel about themselves by what they express outwardly. You can tell what's inside and what's inwardly. And so we just got to judge people character, like regardless of what their complexion are, their ability, what they look like, their size, like none of that matters. It's all about the being within you. And are you in tune with this being within you enough to love yourself enough to say, okay, well, I'm gonna express this love outside of myself, and it's shown and it's known.
I will say you got a couple of okay, Marquise said the bald-headed bearded man is taking over. My waves don't mean anything anymore. No, they don't. They don't mean anything. Malika said, ooh, where's my popcorn? And based off of what you were saying, Marquise said that he is definitely familiar with that. And then Tara Henry said that it's also interesting. We're about to be in our last 5 minutes. An hour went by fast, didn't it?
Oh, it went by real quick. Nice.
We're about to go in our last 5 minutes, but Kerwin, I definitely want to get you on again because I want to finish this conversation. I've always wanted to talk about colorism because this guy here swears he's dark. Like, he swears he's dark.
Nobody said that. I never said that. He's definitely joking. I've never said that.
I got a receipt.
No, he doesn't have, because I never said that.
He don't believe that he's closer to you than he is to me.
I'm about to say you pecan, bro. You like a light pecan.
I don't know what he's talking about. I never said that.
One of the things that I want to talk about, Kerwin, is one of the things that I see a lot is that I see lighter people. Like my mom she's your color. Like most of our life, she was transparent. And one of the things that she used to do is have to defend her blackness because no, I'm black, blah, blah, blah. Why is it that lighter skinned people feel that they have to defend their black versus using their lighter privilege to just bring up the blacks? You see what I mean? So I want to talk about that another day.
That's a whole other hour.
That's a whole other hour.
Because I got stuff on that too.
That's deep.
So have that in the back of your mind so you will come back. Yeah. Because I want to talk about it. But Kerwin, we at the last 5 minutes. So what we do towards the end is, one, we got to shout out any positive men that you know. Give any positive men a shout out real quick.
Positive men, I want to shout out Wake County Commissioner James West. I want to shout out Gerald Baker, Sheriff Department. I want to shout out Glenn McNeil, Colonel Glenn McNeil. Me and him kind of had some rush issues of people kind of attacking us both because of us kind of dealing with each other. I want to shout out my father. I want to shout out my brother, Kenneth Pittman Jr., Kenneth Pittman Sr., I want to shout out you brothers. You brothers are doing an awesome job. I love you, what you guys are doing. I love your platform. Importantly, I want to shout out myself for being able to be able to speak volumes and to be in the right frame of mind. You got to show love to yourself. You got to love yourself.
Yeah.
That's why he fit the fold right there.
Yeah, it starts with loving yourself first. And I want to give a shout out to any positive brothers who are out there in the community making a difference, not for themselves, but for the future generation that is to come behind them. Thank you, brothers.
Awesome stuff.
Oh yeah.
Shout out.
Wow.
You can't use Uncle Marquez. We got him.
So I would say, so I'll definitely say, the brothers I'm in the rumors right now with, of course, definitely your brothers are definitely doing your thing when it comes to community work. And I will also shout out any other brothers that we've had on Brother Empowerment. That so far has been Ian, I believe, and Al Howard.
Yep,
so
Ian Parks and Al Howard.
Yeah, so we've had those brothers on. So I'm gonna shout out those brothers. So I want to shout out any brother who's gonna be coming to our Brother Empowerment Cookout on March 24th. So I'm preemptively shouting out all those brothers. Yeah. That's gonna be one cauldron of positivity and brotherly love right there. So yeah, that's my shout out.
Okay, I definitely want to give a huge shout out to Nick Welch. Nick Welch is the owner of the Chick-fil-A Cary Town Center, who's donating to the Brother Empowerment Cookout. Positive brother, we got to give that to him. I wanted to give a huge shout out. We already did Uncle Marquez. We did Marquise. We got to give him a shout out. We got to give out Tory. We got to give out Robert Walker. We have to give out, let's see, brothers we didn't name last time. JB Green. Yeah. We're going to give you a huge shout out. True Pettigrew for what you're doing. Huge shout out. DJ World Class DJ Ty. We got to give you a shout out. Corey Maxwell. We got to give you a huge shout out, and Ian Parks, because those are also collaborators with the Brother Empowerment. So if you know a positive brother, be sure to appreciate him and to congratulate him. Now we're going to turn it back over to you, to Kerwin. We just want you to give a few words of empowerment, whatever they may be, to anybody that's viewing.
Continue to live righteous. Continue to do the right thing, even in the face of adversity, the face of trials. Continue to stand on your principles. Continue to be upright, fearless, and independent. Continue, even in the face of destruction, to be fearless and move forward with your positive agenda. Continue to uplift people. Continue to be the beautiful person that you are. And most importantly, continue to love yourself, because it starts with self. And whatever you do outwardly is expressed inwardly. And so people will be able to see the true you. And so long you can run from self. So love yourself. And I love guide on how to love yourself is in stores. You can go to my link on my Facebook page, and you can see the bio. In order to buy it, I'll put it in the comments. But continue to love yourself and continue to help those around you.
Well, this is our, I want to say, 7th, the 8th Brother Empowerment session. And so the thing that I always say on Brother Empowerment is to all my brothers is to be open. To be open. To be open. Because if you're open, you can receive all the positivity and all the energy that we are definitely building. And you can be in that safe space, because you're ready to receive everything that we have to pour into you, as well as, like you said, pour into ourselves. So I always say to our brothers and also our sisters too, to be open, because being open is the best thing that you can be. That's right. I also say, of course, that love is a parable, because, I am a love advocate. So I definitely got to say that I will, I bring love with me wherever I go, and I interact in love. And I also say to everybody, come and join us on our Brother Empowerment Cookout on March 24th. It's going to be beautiful. And that's the best word I can think of. There's going to be so much more than that, but it really is going to be beautiful.
And it's free. We just need you to sign up so we know how much food to have.
That's correct.
Don't just pop up like it's at your cousin's house. Sign up. It's free. We just need to know how much food to have on deck. We don't want to have too much food or not enough food. So we need to know who all is coming so we can take good care of you. I want to add to that, guys, our vision is so much bigger, and we're trying to do bigger and better things. We're ready to impact and empower our community. Please go to loveisapparable.com, donate. If you want to be a certified love advocate, we got a class that's coming up in April. So I definitely want to make sure that you are a part of that. Tara Henry is on. She's a certified love advocate. Kimberly Hines Winborn is on. She's a certified love advocate. These are people who went through the program. Their testimonies are on there. We have different payment options for you. We even have financial assistance. If you really want this, sign up, because it's all about making people better, because we're about promoting unity, love, and random acts of kindness while you're getting love education, love advocacy, and love therapy. We're trying to do bigger and better things. Matter of fact, we're doing bigger and better things. We're bringing brothers together. We're healing families. We're healing communities. We're taking away hashtags and statistics, because now we're leaving impressions. We're not doing that anymore. We're on a whole new level, and we're leaving our mark. And guys, we need your support to do that. And if nobody else have told you, not today or even in your life, that they love you, know that Jay loves you. Know that Cordell loves you. Know that Kerwin loves you. And if you need any of us, reach out to us. All of our information is on this video, but you can find us at loveistheparable.com, and I'll make sure that you get all of Kerwin's information as well. So you guys have a wonderful night. Kerwin, thank you so much. Once again, I trusted my gut. I knew that you would be awesome, and you didn't let me down. And brother, it's just been a blessing knowing you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you, brothers. Thank you for having me. All right, brothers.
Have a good night, bro.
Have a good night. Join us next week, 8:30, Thursday.